smile. Yes, love it. And the rest are still shy? There you go. Okay, so hello KW.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is it morning?
It's
Still early.
Oh my goodness. Let's do it one more time in sync. Ready? Hello KW.
Good morning.
I love it. Let's get that energy up. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the 80-20 principle. So what I love is, what do you know about the 80-20 principle, by the way? Anybody know what it's about?
80% of your activity brings 20% of your income. Or results.
Focus on the 20% of the activity that gonna produce the money and leverage the 80% that doesn't give you the money.
I love that. Yeah, so 20% of your effort will give you 80% of the results. 20% of your effort will give you 80% of the results, as long as you're doing the 20% efforts in the right efforts. We're going to identify those today. But this video is going to tell you a little bit more of the history of the 80-20. Okay, so let's watch this video real quick. If I click on this, will the video start?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. No, it doesn't.
Michael,
That's right.
Have you ever heard of the 80-20 rule or the 80-20 principle, also known as the Pareto principle? So what is it? Originally, the Pareto principle first started, as the story goes, in 1906 as an observation back in Italy by a man named Vilfredo Pareto. He noticed how 80% of the Italy's wealth belonged only to 20% of the population, and a different case is how 20% of the pea pods in his garden produce 80% of the peas. Again, just to clarify, the Pareto principle first started as an observation, and it's not a law of nature that most things in life are not distributed evenly. Okay, so you might be already wondering, alright, cool, so what does this observation really have to do with me? What does this really have to do with achieving more by working less? Well, in this video, you'll learn on what the 80-20 rule is and how vital this principle can really be for you when applied correctly into your life, which has shown to drastically improve productivity in a lot of people's lives. So, let's talk about it. Alright, so the Pareto principle helps you realize that the majority of the results come from a minority of inputs. In short, 20% of the input creates 80% of the results, or vice versa, 80% of the input creates 20% of the results. Interestingly, in today's current day and age, Vilfredo is still not far off that 20% of the world's population controls about 82.7% of the wealth. So, here's a story for you to understand how the 80-20 can really affect people's lives. There are two guys. One is Fred and the other is Jerry. Fred is a hardworking man. He's the guy that you always see him working non-stop at his job, at home, almost everywhere. He's on the run trying to get tasks done, trying to pay the bills, trying to fix things, manage everything. And then there's Jerry. This man is kind of like the opposite of Fred. He works about 3 hours a day, and the rest of the day he does whatever he wants, when he wants, and seems to always have the ability to enjoy hanging out with his friends and family. Now, let me ask you something. Who do you think is more productive? If you were thinking Fred, well, in this case, Fred is actually the busiest guy, but not the most productive. You see, being busy doesn't mean productive, and that's where the 80-20 rule comes into play. I said Jerry has the ability to work 3 hours a day, and he gets to do whatever he wants afterwards. Fred, on the other hand, is a hard-working man, but with the observation of the 80-20 rule, 80% of his effort is actually yielding 20% of the results. Jerry, on the other hand, learned early on how to use his time more efficiently into tasks that take 20% of his effort that produces 80% of the results. Now, don't take me wrong, I'm not saying hard work is a bad thing. Like I said, you can work hard with many a times working inefficiently, so it's always important to keep that in mind to make sure your work is productive. You see, the 80-20 is what I use to analyze productivity and business tasks, buying groceries, learning skills, and eliciting free time. Here's a couple life examples I had in life because I ask the 80-20 rule question. Example number 1 is 20% of my tasks were bringing about 80% of the results in a specific business goal, which led to making those tasks a top priority. For example, my YouTube channel, about 20% of my videos are actually bringing in about 80% of my viewers. And this isn't a surprise, honestly, because it's very common among other YouTubers. I'm able to see what works and what videos doesn't, and I'm able to focus on topics that work very well. A second example is, in the past, 80% of the time spent on the phone were pretty useless, honestly. So I proceeded to delete some useless apps from it. Now my work has improved way more. And these are some of the changes I've made in my lifestyle because of the 80-20 principle. Again, how could this apply to you? Well, I read Tools of Titan by Tim Ferriss. I learned from the book it's very helpful to organize your activities and think about your strengths and weaknesses. In other words, which things should you be doing on your own and which things should you delegate or even remove from your schedule. When you find something that is yielding more results, place your focus there and your time will be even used more efficiently. Thus, you will be able to become more productive. Time is the most valuable currency. It's unreplaceable. It's something you can't get back. By applying the 80-20 principle, your ability to better control your time and what yields the most results will help you improve drastically. So, what is your thoughts about the 80-20 principle? How will you apply it in your life? Let me know in the comments. And if you're new to this channel, my name is Chris and I want to say welcome, and if you want to learn more about life improvement stuff, subscribe so you don't miss out. As always, thanks for watching and I'll see you later.
So here's the truth. The truth is there's a pattern of predictable imbalance in life. Right? Isn't there? Isn't there an imbalance in life? And it's called the 80-20 principle. That imbalance that you have in your life, that all of us have in our lives, that's called the 80-20 principle. So, when you are focused on the 20% that really matters, today we're going to find out what are the things that matter. And you'll get 80% of the results. You could be working 80% of the time and only getting 20% of the results. More than likely, that's what's happening. Just gonna throw it out there. More than likely, I'll go on the limb and say that's probably what's happening right now. So today, we're gonna work on changing that for you. Okay, we're gonna identify in your lives what it is that you should be doing in your business lives, in your personal lives. You're gonna identify that for yourselves. Because who knows you better than you? Us. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find the 20%, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna force you to go smaller. I'm gonna go between that 20%, where's the 20%? So that we can really dive down and find out what it is, okay? It looks like we got Rich Crest on Zoom. Hi, Scott Miller. Okay, so have you guys ever heard of the Big Rocks experiment?
No.
The Big Rocks experiment, some of you have Becky?
Sand.
The sand and all of that. Okay, so for those of you who haven't, then this will be new to you. And those of you who have, it'll just be a good reminder. It does have a twist on the end than the normal Big Rock scenario. So pay attention, here we go, ready?
Good afternoon, everyone. We all have this one life to live. A fleeting shadow amongst all that exists in this vast universe. We have the ability to accomplish anything, truly anything, if we use our time wisely. Is this jar full? And is it full now? And how about now? Is the jar full now?
Yes.
Now I want you to recognize that this jar represents your life. Golf balls are the important things, your family, your friends, your health, and your passions. The pebbles are the other important things, your car, your job, your home. And the sand is everything else, it's just the small stuff. Now, if you put the sand in the jar first, you won't have room for the pebbles or the golf balls. The same is true of life. If you spend all your energy and your time on the small stuff, you won't have time for all the really important things that matter to you. Pay attention to the things that are critical to your happiness. Take care of the golf balls first, the really important things. Set your priorities, because everything else is, it's just sand.
Yes. Professor, what does the beer represent?
I'm glad you asked. It goes to show that no matter how full your life may seem to be, there's always room for a couple of beers with a friend.
Nice twist, huh? So most of us do a lot of busy work and don't realize that we're just doing busy work. They're in the book Shift in chapter 15. And everybody have a copy of Shift? Well, go look at chapter 15. Oh, nice. Good job. Look at that. Handy right there. So in chapter 15, it talks about time blocking. We're going to hit time blocking as well today, but I just want to let you know that Shift really covers a lot of that. It does cover about time blocking, your big rocks. Most of us put the sand in first. Then we don't have room for the big rocks. And we're actually happy about that. Why do I say happy about that?
You're doing the stuff that doesn't matter. We like the sauce.
Right, because you're avoiding the stuff that does. So it's like your subconscious, you're doing it to yourself. You know, guess who limits us? Us. So having awareness, an expanded mind can never retract. Once you know, you know. Try to unknow something. Once you know it, you know it.
Try all the time.
Right? So today, you know you can't put sand, then the rock, then the pebbles, and the liquid, and then the sand, and then the pebbles, and then try to fit all the same big rocks in there. It's not going to work. It has to be done in that order. And so does it have to be done in that order in your lives. So in your book, take a look at your sheets. So the first sheet that you have, it says 11. You see that on the top right corner?
Yeah.
The second one you have says 13, right? Those were from the pages of last week's, or last month's workshop. The reason I've included them in this week's workshop is because that one thing that those of you who were with me last week, each workshop builds on the next workshop. So those of you who weren't in my last workshop are able to do then page 11 and 13 because you're going to need it as we move forward. Whatever it was that you wrote on your one thing, your one goal on page, I think it was 13, right? that said, or,
What 3 things would you like to accomplish more?
right, but then you had to circle the one that, remember when you had to do the 3 things, you had to circle one of those 3 things, and that became your thing, right? So we're gonna use that one thing that we did in the last class to put it into this class. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the third sheet, you can go to the third sheet, okay? The third sheet, we're gonna talk about today, okay? But before we do that, I'd like somebody who would like on Zoom or in person, like to read what I have on the screen.
I'll read it.
You'll read it, Becky?
Sure.
Go.
While to-do lists serves as a useful collection of our best intentions, they also tyrannize us with trivial, unimportant stuff that we feel obligated to get done because it's on our list. Achievers operate differently. They have an eye for the essential. Left in its raw state as a simple inventory, a to-do list can easily lead you astray. The first thing on your list is just the first thing you thought of. The to-do list inherently lack the interest of success. Long hours spent checking off a to-do list and ending the day with a full trash can and a clear desk have nothing to do with success. Instead of a to-do list, you need a success list, a list that is purposefully created around extraordinary results. To-do lists tend to be long, success lists are short. One pulls you in all directions, the other aims you in a specific direction. If your to-do list contains everything, then it is probably taking you everywhere but where you really want to go.
Right. So what's the difference between a success list and a to-do list?
I feel like a success list is more prioritized, while to-do list is everything.
Right, a success list is much more prioritized.
It has direction.
Huh?
It has direction.
It has a major direction, right? Like not, it doesn't go down into the nitty gritty of things.
Yeah.
Tasks go into the nitty gritty, but yes, correct. What else?
If we use the acknowledge it focus on the big rock.
Say it one more time, Gloria.
If we look the analogy of the rocks, the only focus on the big rocks.
Right, the big rocks. The success list has the big rocks, right?
Purposeful.
It's purposeful, yes.
I call it the done list instead of the to-do list.
The done list instead of the to-do list?
Yeah.
Okay, so a success list is different than even a done list. I'm gonna explain the success list. So on that page where it tells you, so you have to write the goal, right? What's your goal? So that would have done in the previous workshop to identify your goal. If you have not identified your goal, go ahead on that first page which is page 11, go ahead and write the 3 things that you want in life, circle one of those 3 things, and that becomes your goal, okay? And then you're gonna put that here. Now you're gonna write the to-do list, all the to-dos that you have to do. All the to-dos. Go ahead and write all your to-dos. As many as you can think of, all your to-dos. You writing all your to-dos, Zilmers? Hey Alicia, nice to see you.
Good morning, Amy. Good to see you too.
minute, start writing. All the things you have to do. Flip the page if you need to. Okay. Okay, so now that you have your to-do list, I want to look at this guy. This guy wants to go, he wants to run a marathon. See this? Wants to run a marathon. So what he says is he's going to run a marathon, he's going to work on a diet plan, work on a hydration plan, select strength program. You've got this sheet in your, I think, right? Is it part of your thing in there? No? Okay, you don't need it anyway. Here, just look at it.
There it is.
There it is. So here you go. You have a diet plan, yeah. Select running regimen, find a compatible running group, and you got numbers next to it. What do you think those numbers?
Priority.
Priority, good job. And then you see it says select running regimen, and you see, oh, what does he gotta do? Join upcoming 5K to 10K. But what are all these things?
Plans
To-do
for his
list.
plans.
Plans for his plans, good one.
To-do list.
It's a lot of to-dos, right? Really, the success list is run a marathon, select a running regimen, time block the training schedule, and coordinate with an experienced runner. The rest of it's a lot of to-dos. Make sense? So, how do you know what's a to-do and what's a success? Based on what you wrote, I want you to look at what you wrote and identify by circling, starring, somehow underlining, highlighting, whatever you want to do, all the things you should be doing, not could be doing, right? So the could, I could be doing this, is different than I should be doing this, right? So circle the ones you should be doing. Because they'll take a precedence over the coulds. Make sense? Any questions?
How many?
Well, we're going to identify. We're going to keep going smaller and smaller. So circle the ones you should. You go, this is non-negotiable. I should be doing this. Even if you're not doing it now, but you know you should, circle that. All the shoulds. Okay, now that you've identified your should, cross out the top of that list. Do you see where it says to-do list? Put success list. Who would like to share some of their shoulds? Yes.
Practice test taking for my brokerage license by creating flashcards and reviewing flashcards every day for 1 hour.
Okay, so time blocking for
Study.
education. That's what that is. Do you see how you just made that into a success thing? It's not, you can do 3 hours of time blocking for education. Because why should it stop after that? You're always educating on something, right?
Right.
Give me another should. This is an interactive workshop. You'll get more from each other and you know, from hearing each other what others have on their paper. Yes.
I need to finish my orientation for GABAR.
So GABAR orientation, is that a success list or is that on a to-do list?
And it's very important because I will lose my GABAR.
It's absolutely important. So you're going, but it's a to-do list important. It's not a success list important, because it's a one-time thing and it's done.
Oh,
Right?
yes.
Then what are you gonna replace that with? Let's say it's done, now what?
Then my next one was learn more about command.
Learn more about command, that's a success list. But no, I mean, in that time block for the GAB orientation, what would you put there after you went through the orientation? For the whole year, what would be there? You see, running a marathon is a big deal because it takes a while to get there. If you can do it in 3 minutes or an hour, that's a to-do list.
Okay.
A success list is like macro. It's a little bit on a wider, do you get what I'm saying? Yes.
Would that cover just putting invest in education?
Investing in education, yes, that's perfect. So something like that.
Or learning more about the cover.
Right. Right, that takes you a whole year now. Once you do the orientation, now you're gonna, what do they have? How do they work this? How can I do that? That's different, right? Do you see the difference between success lists versus a to-do list? We're gonna get to the to-do part. We all have to-dos. The fact of the matter is you have to do, you know? So I'll get there, but I need you to understand the differences between the two. Reason?
Yeah, build a social media presence.
Yes, build a social media presence is a success list, yes. Because how many things you have to do to get there?
You know, make a lot of content.
Right, right. There's a lot of to-do lists that will get there. But the end goal is to have a social media platform and measured by, let's say, engagements. I'm looking for X amount of engagements or X amount of transactions closed through social media, right? And that's how it becomes part of the success list. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, any questions? Okay. So we're gonna do a 411. Anybody have you guys ever done a 411?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. So for those of you who have or those of you who haven't, I'm gonna review a 411. So in the following, by the way, you should have, on the bottom of that sheet, I forgot to take you there first. Let me go back to that 33, page 33. Do you see where on the bottom after you did your success list? Now it's the one thing. Now out of all of these things that you should, the things you should be doing, what is the one thing I can do such by doing that, it makes the other things easy or unnecessary? That's from the One Thing book. What's the one thing I could be doing that will make the other stuff go away?
Business plan?
Huh?
A business plan? A better business plan?
Well, one would be a better business plan. We're working on that right now. So, but what would be in all your shoulds, what would be the one thing you can do that maybe will knock down 2 shoulds?
Mine is
Or 3?
becoming the best lead generator possible.
Becoming the best lead generator possible. What's gonna take? What is that gonna take? That's gonna take some wax on, wax off. He's gotta do some 3 hours every single day, right? Of lead generation. Time over task. Right?
100%.
Yeah. So you're gonna identify your one thing. Make sure you do this, because here's the thing on a workshop. The more you put it into yourself, it's just a form of respecting who you are. So if you're on, it's funny how you'll do it for somebody else, but you don't do it for yourself. It's about respecting yourself and doing it because you're worthy. Love yourself. There's a lot of self-love that comes through this. Okay, so we're gonna do the 411, we're gonna set weekly goals, we're gonna set annual goals, we're gonna go through the process. So on the following page, it's actually page, go to page 37. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna bring to your, something to your attention. So on page 37 is a sample from the book of a Mega Agent 411. And initially I was going to take it out of the slide and take it off your sheets, your handout. Why would I do such a horrible thing? The reason is because it's wrong. There's typos and there's mistakes in here. Then I decided, you know what? Sometimes looking at things that are done wrong will prevent you from doing it wrong, right? So there are some typos and things in here that are incorrect. So I'm just gonna go with it and I'm gonna show you what's incorrect. And it's gonna be really, really clear. So let's look at, we're just gonna focus today on job, right? We're gonna look at the first thing, we're gonna look at job. And it says, this guy wants, Mega Mike wants 24 listings sold. But look at what he's got. He's got 60 quality listings on number 3. Make sense?
Doesn't add up.
Doesn't add up.
Horrible.
Because you know if you've got 60 quality listings, you're not only gonna close 24 of them. That doesn't make any sense. So maybe he meant appointments.
Right.
Maybe it was, but then you look at the next one, it goes 150
Right.
listing appointments. This thing is all botched up, but I want to have you pay attention to the botched up portion of it, because what will happen, let's say it was really 24 listings sold, because that's what it says. Number 1 on the monthly, you take the monthly, right? You take 24 as annual. You see that? Annual goal. 24 is annual. Now we have my goal is to close 24 listings only. I haven't talked to the buyer side yet. Listings only. How many is that on a monthly basis?
2.
That's 2 if taken in a 12-month year. When you do your 411, do you take 12 months in a year? Do you divide it by 12? It would make sense that you would, because there are 12 months in a year. However, you do not do it that way.
I think because.
You know what?
Oh.
What is it?
I was just gonna say, I think because his ratios are kind of high, so he's dividing the 5 into the 60. So that's why he needs the, those 5 because his ratios are really far apart from.
Yeah.
Where the.
I think they put the wrong numbers in. I think there's a typo. I really do. I don't, that's pretty bad. Right. So, you want to take a 10-month year. Why 10 months, Amy?
Vacation time.
Vacation, holidays, life,
Sleeping.
all of the things that happen. Oh, this happened in the family life. Life happens. So realistically, it's over a 10-month period. So when you're doing this, I want you to do it based on 10 months in a year. Nobody has said that just because we're in July, that you can do it from now until December, right? And then you take away, let's say, a month, because you already took away a month the first half of this year. Right? So now instead of, August, September, October, November, December, now you've got 4 months left in the year, at best.
Right.
At best, you have 4 months left of the year. So you do your numbers based on what? 4 months. So your annual goal might not be your annual goal because you're not starting in January, you started right now. So right now, based on the next 4 months, what is it that you like to see? What is your goal?
4 months.
Right? 4 months worth of business, how many listings will you have sold? How many buyer sites would you have closed?
Are you asking us?
Yeah. What would you say?
15.
Yeah.
From now, in the next 4 months, 15.
Yeah.
I'd like to close in the next 4 months, 8.
Okay, so he said, I'd like to close 8. And I'm going to say, I will close 8.
Different words.
I will close 8.
I will. See the difference? I will close A versus I'd like to. I'd like to leaves you lots of options,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're committed to you, I will.
I want to.
I want to is not strong enough.
That'd be nice.
Damn.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
That'd be
That's
so
not
sick.
good enough. No. I will. I mean, you put it out there, you're gonna do it. I will close. So put a number that you can reach and feel good about. I'm not telling you to even, don't over exaggerate a number, just hit it. Feel good, hit it. Do it. Whatever number you choose, hit it. Don't go, oh, but I gave myself a stretch goal. I'm removing that excuse from you. I dare you, hit it. I want you to do it. Hit it.
Hit that shit.
Hit it. Whatever the number is. I don't care what the number is. It's your number, not mine. Just hit it. So now you're gonna do that based on your monthly for 4 months. Make sense? Okay. So let's say this one is for July. We're in the middle of July, right? So we're going to pretend it's July 1st because it's easier for me to explain, and then I can tell you what to do because we're in mid-July. So let's just say it's July 1st. Week 1 is going to, there's 4 weeks. You see, that's why it's called the 4-1-1. 4 weeks, 1 month, 1 year. Okay? So the 4 weeks, you're not going to fill out all 4 weeks. It's July 1st. You're just going to put your first week. You're going to put what needs to happen in this week. I need to go on this many listing appointments. I need to do this. I need to get one in escrow, right? You're going to do that on your first week. On your second week, what are you going to have? You're going to have the first week checked off on the things that were complete. What if they're not complete? What if they're halfway complete?
Carry over.
It's going to carry over, you're going to bring it over. Now you have 2 escrows to close on that second week. You get what I'm saying? If you were going to lead generate 3 hours a day and you only lead, and that equates to 15 hours that week, right, of lead generation, but you only hit 10 hours. What's going to happen with that 5?
Carry over.
You're going to carry it over. Now this week you're going to go ahead and do what? 20 hours a week.
12 hours today.
You're going to do 20 hours a week. So how do you know how long you're actually lead generating? Because we fib on that.
Track it.
So there's something called a chess clock.
Little.
You know, a chess clock? You can do it right on your computer. You download the app, you got a chess clock, and you have to turn it off every time you're not on the phone. And you realize that you don't talk on the phone and lead generate as much as you think you do. You're talking about closing transactions, and you're becoming you're the transaction coordinator, and you're counting that as lead generation, and it's not. So you use a chess clock to do that. Why am I bringing up lead generation so much?
It's important.
It's your 20%. That's it. The one thing you should all have the same one thing. It should be called lead generation because you're in the lead generation business. So if you don't have that down, you're missing on the big rock. That is the one big rock. You're in the lead generation business. So how much time are you going to put into lead generation?
A ton.
All.
And by the way, everything else is sand.
Yikes.
Yeah. Now we're going to do your goals. So take that sheet out. By the way, where do you find this online? Because it stores it for you electronically. I have a 411. I report my 411 weekly to my coach, the regional director, and the regional owner. Every week. I have accountability around my 411. Do you know one of the things when I have had no accountability, because there have been periods in my life that I have had no accountability, I still did my 411 because it's such a habit of mine that it's just like brushing my teeth. I don't feel complete unless I have it. I constantly, by the way, Iman has a 411, George has a 411, Garrett has a 411,
JD,
who?
JD,
JD has a 411.
all the ALC.
All the ALC has a 411, or should. I don't know, do they? I don't know. I can't speak on that, and I haven't seen it. But I can speak on the leadership team. They have a 411 weekly, and they are held accountable to it on a weekly basis. But it's not important. You know the difference between the average human and a not so average human is these little small tweaks. It's the way they think. They think differently, so they do things differently. If you don't have this, why not? This is a way to respect you. So let's start. Put in your, we're going to focus on job only. I think you understand. Do you know the difference between business and job?
I don't. Job is your daily activities. Business is goals for the year, I would assume. Not.
Both have the yearly.
Right.
Both are yearly.
Yeah, I would say like you're focusing more on your person, and the business is, what is the business doing in general? Like how you are doing that portion of your business.
Working in your business and working on your business.
Working in your business, working on your business. So if you're a single agent, see, it makes it really easy when it's a team. They go, oh yeah, the business, all the buyer agents and all the, so there's these separate people, but you are the separate person for each one of those roles. Are you not the janitor of your business? Are you the CEO of your business? Are you the buyer's agent? Are you the listing agent? Yes, you're all of those things. The systems in your business, right? Those are the business pieces. Understand that you're just an employee for your business. And you just happen to be the only employee of your business. So you're going to have business goals, and then you're going to have your role. Your role is your job. Okay? So maybe on your role, you need a job description. By the way, that's also on mykw.kw.com, exactly where this 411 is as well. You just hit resources, and 411 is there. I'm in there all the time. That's like, that's where you go. Okay, so go ahead and start writing your annual goals. Just write one annual goal.
For the next 4 months, right?
For the next 4 months, write one annual goal. You can do this on your own, the rest of it on your own. I just want you to complete one annual goal. Then I want you to take that, divide it by 4, and put that in your monthly goal. And now we're in the middle of the month. So you're going to take whatever your monthly goal is, because you got to look at, you're in the middle of the month, so that your monthly goal has to be basically 2 weeks, right? And you're going to do that, and then you're going to go to the third column of your worksheet under weekly, because we're in the third week. The third week's coming, right? If you would like me to look at your 411, Amy, how does this look? I'm more than open to looking at it. You would email me at amyc@kw.com. All I ask is give me a few days to look at it, because I'm not necessarily, I'm on top of my emails on minute by minute, right? But, okay. Anyone want to share a yearly goal?
10 closed transactions.
10 closed transactions, buyer and seller, total. 10 closed transactions. What is it on your monthly?
2.5.
2.5. You can't do a half, so what are you going to do?
3.
You're going to do 3. Okay, so now you've put the 3 there. What are you going to do on your weekly?
Open houses.
Open houses, you're going to get into your tasks now, right? On your to-dos. Okay. So here you go. Time blocking. We're going to talk about time blocking, because you know what's, I'm gonna tell you what's normal. You're gonna write this down, you know, well, how am I gonna have all the time to do all of this? Because this is the objection every single time. As you're writing it, as you're typing it, you're also probably gonna be telling your, because your monkey mind is going to be telling you that you're not gonna be able to get this done. I want you to let you know that this is normal. That self-talk, unfortunately, has become the norm. I would not like to have it the norm, but it is. So it's okay. If you're saying that to yourself, that means you're uncomfortable. And that means it's time for you to grow. It's okay. Have that self-talk. It's okay. Just recognize it and go, I will. I will. You'll believe in yourself as you do it, as long as you adhere to the doing. Okay? Okay. Anyone else want to share? No Zoomers want to share? Okay. All right. So I struggled with time blocking for more years than I want to even admit. Over a decade. I struggled, this was my demon. I would time block and then things would get into, you know, it was hard to stay to it because life happens. And by the way, when you come to me and go, hair on fire issue, and I'm sitting in front of my computer doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but something has happened, right? I can't tell other humans, think of yourselves. I can't just tell you, I'm time blocked right now, sorry. I have to give enough time for myself for those things to happen. I have to have an understanding that life is going to happen. So maybe when I block myself an hour to do something, because I know it takes an hour to do, I will block 2 hours to do it. Just in case. And you know what happens in that just in case? I'm still struggling with 1 hour. So I have to be really purposeful because I know I gave myself double the time. And I would work it and work it and work it until I got better at it. Now it's an hour and a half block time. I'm still allowing a half an hour for the interruptions. Make sense? Because life happens. But if you respect yourself and you respect your time, the story that I told, I think you guys weren't here. For those of you who were, I'm sorry you're going to hear the story again. My daughter would go in, her room was dirty, she was a tween. I would say, I'd go in there and I'd go, oh my gosh, your room's dirty. I'd just sit on the bed and I'd be quiet and I'd put my head down. And she said, what's the matter, Mom? And I must have done something wrong. I raised you wrong. Look, you don't respect yourself. You don't respect your environment. You don't respect who you are. Your mind is as cluttered as your room, or else it wouldn't be. Like this. And she was a tween, so she looked at me and she's like, no, I'll clean right now. I'm fine, Mom. I'm like, no. It's gradually, then suddenly. And this is the gradual process. And today, you know, her self-esteem was good at that time, right? You let these kind of little things go, and suddenly her self-esteem's under the ground, and she deserves a mess. She feels that she deserves to live in mess. And I was sad. So I shared that with my daughter. It was the last conversation I had about her. Not the last, I did have to bring it to her attention a couple more times. To tell you the truth, I did say, the room's messy. She goes, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna get on that. Because it was a thing. It was a thing. And it bothered me, and I did feel like this was about self-respect. And if she didn't feel worthy of being in a wonderful environment for herself, then she didn't love herself enough. So the 4 keys to a successful time blocking is to be consistent, purposeful, always block your big rocks, your 20%. So that means what's gonna go in there first? What? What's the big rocks for you and your work? Regeneration. Right. And for your family, for your personal life, what is that gonna be? Time with who? Your family, whoever, your kids, your parents, whoever you, right? If you erase, you must replace. Don't erase and go, oh, done.
Free time.
Free time, no. If you erase, you must replace on your 20%, in regards to your 20%. Refer to your weekly goals on your 411. So, you know, I just recently signed up for Noom. Anybody heard of Noom? Noom, N-O-O-M. And what it is, it's a weight loss behavioral psychology thing. And I was like, oh my God, where has this app been for me? So I recently signed up for it. I think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, by the way. Right? You know, I was like, because they're
Sliced bread.
yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing. So what they do is they make me get on a scale every day. I hate the scale.
So every day?
I hate the scale. I don't want to go on a scale every day. But they explain why, you know, psychologically, that this would be to your benefit. And although it could be different and the numbers could be different, and I have, you know, like phobia with the scale, I went ahead and I started doing what they asked me to do. And what I realized was, oh, it gets easier, just like anything else. I teach this stuff, but then on like weight loss, I go, no, it's not gonna work. And I go, no, just like anything else, I gotta keep reminding myself it's the same thing over and over again. So if you do it over and over, if you're constantly in your 411, then what happens?
You're gonna have it more.
It gets easier.
What you focus on, what happens?
Expands.
Expands, what does that mean?
What you put your time to becomes what improves. So if you track it and measure it,
You do it.
Right? What you track, what you measure improves. Well, look at that. So now, before I do any, before I even have a cup of coffee, I'm weighing myself every morning. So here's the funnest part. We're gonna run a little bit over, but we're gonna do this because this is the best part of all. Okay. Each one of you have a ribbon in front of you, and those of you on Zoom should have a ribbon. Your ribbon is 80 centimeters long, okay? I want you to go ahead, open up your ribbon. It's 80 centimeters long.
you put it on our forehead.
Why did I put 80 centimeters? 80 centimeters.
80-20.
No,
Oh, shit.
it's not, actually. No, not at all. The 80-20 represents the average years on the planet are 80 years.
Oh, this is how much we have. Like
How much time you have. So I want you to understand what we're doing right now. You have now, however old you are, for example, if I'm 30 years old, I'm gonna cut 30 centimeters. So how much will I have left of my 80? 50, right? So however old you are, cut that amount in centimeters.
Like we're running out of time.
That's your life. That's your ribbon of life right in front of you. Cut your.
If they're only using one ruler to measure this, I don't want to be.
It's by centimeters.
So I know it would be less than one for some of us.
Looks like I'm gonna.
Well, no, we're going to use a ruler for something else right now, but you know your age. So cut the amount of centimeters off that 80 ribbon. Cut that out.
This is scary.
So now cut that off. Put it somewhere so that you don't confuse it with the other side, with the other ribbon. That's sunken, what we call in investing, that's called sunk costs. Sunk costs. You can't do anything about it. It's already done. That's it. Those are the years you've lived. Because you can't get time back, you can't get time back. Okay.
So just throw this away.
Throw it away. That's done. It's over with. Water under the bridge. Okay.
Oh, it's so much fun.
You can't do anything about it. Now we're going to go ahead. We need to factor in a few variables in life. So you're going to take the remaining future, your
Totally.
ribbon, right there, yes. And what we're going to do, what we're going to do is we're going to look at weekends. So there are 52 weeks in a year, but not all of us take Saturday and Sunday off,
48.
right?
Friday, Saturday.
Well, let's just say we all take Sundays off. Let's say it's a Wednesday, and everybody takes a Wednesday off, whatever it is. Let's say it's 1 day a week. That would be 52 times your age. How much is left? Not your age. 52 times what's left. So if you have 50 years ahead of you, because I'm 30 years old and I have 50 years ahead of me, that means one Sunday a week is 52 times 50. Right? If I have 40 years ahead of me and I took one Sunday off a week, that's 52 Sundays a year times how much life do I have left? Up to 80.
No more weekends off.
So you're gonna times that, then cut that off. You get it?
In centimeters?
In centimeters.
I have nothing left.
Okay, here we go.
We go negative.
I'm gonna repeat it again.
What's the formula?
Let's pretend I am 35 years old.
Age.
35.
Perfect.
Age.
If I'm 35 years old, if I'm 35 years old, I have already cut my 80 centimeters, right? I cut 35 out. What's left?
45.
45. Now I have 45 times
52.
52 Sundays.
That's a lot.
2,000.
2,200.
No, sorry. 52.
You dividing?
No, we're multiplying. We're multiplying. We're multiplying your current length of years, 45 times 52.
Yeah, that's a lot.
2,340.
So that would be 2,340. So
That's
2
days.
years,
Yes.
3 months,
I'll
da.
divide by 365.
Okay, divided.
Right.
So divide that in.
No,
Okay,
we're
that
not
takes
dividing.
6.
Yeah, so you're gonna take, so here's what you're gonna do.
I didn't.
You're gonna multiply the current length of your ribbon with the 52 Sundays.
Right.
Whatever that number is, that you take that in centimeters and cut it off. Yeah, if you have if it's 2,000 and it's 2 centimeters.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, you divide by
2
10.
years.
Yeah.
If it was 50, for example, right? If I had 50 times 52, that'd be 7 years. The more you're living, the more years.
You cut off.
Do you get what I'm saying? Okay.
62.
Now, if you take Saturdays too, what do you gotta do?
Another 2 years.
So another whatever years. You're gonna now take that's another day, 52 times in a year, multiplied by the amount of years you have left. So did you take 2 days off or did you take 1? I did it by 1 day off. I did okay every Sunday. But if you take 2 days off in a week, then you're gonna double that number. Got it?
Already focused.
All right, now is everybody on Zoom with me?
I'm not even here. I moved
Okay,
to the
cool. Now, what we're gonna do is now you've cut either double or just the 1 day a week. Get real with yourself. If you take 2, then double it. Now you're gonna take the rest of it, and there are 10 national holidays in a year. 10. You're gonna take that, and you're gonna multiply it by what you have left. What was it that you had left after you cut off for the years?
I'm still kind of
I'm just guessing we have like this much life.
You have 42, so you're gonna take 10 times 42.
4,200, so take off another 4 centimeters?
Right, you're not taking out, I guess, you're gonna take another, it's by your, what's
Math
left
magician
between your
now.
eight. Yep. Correct.
I'm still struggling.
Okay, what is it?
Teacher,
So I have
What's the
52
answer?
years left. I times that by 52. I got 3,224.
3 point whatever years.
So I'm only cutting out 3 years.
3 years. For one Sunday.
Okay, I thought it was gonna be a way bigger difference.
No.
Sorry.
Well, you're doing one Sunday though. If you take 2 days, then it's double that.
I'm going, so,
Yeah.
I'll take 2 Sundays.
Okay, so if you take a Saturday and a Sunday or whatever. Okay, so then you're gonna do the same thing on public holidays, 10 a year.
10 times 52.
Same.
So you're gonna multiply that by the amount of years left, not after you cut off your Sundays, before you cut off your Sundays, right?
10 times the remaining years of your life.
Right, so you're gonna do like, so if I'm 30 years old, I have 50 left, right? So it'll be 10 times 50.
Okay, so 10.
And that'll make it 1.5 centimeters, right? That's 1.5 years. Got it? Okay. So there's approximately on average, these are not my numbers, there are approximately on average for the people in the United States, 40 days a year that is either casual leave, sick leave, or annual personal holidays. All of those are about 40 days a year, they say. And so you're going to times that 40 times the amount of years you have left until you get to 80. And then you cut off that ribbon. Are you cutting off?
I'm cutting off, so what was it? 44?
40 times
40.
the amount of years you have left.
Not much.
Okay,
Might as well let it down.
now your ribbon is getting smaller, right? But we didn't account for one more thing, and that was sleep. We sleep 8 hours a day. Actually, we're gonna take the sleeping time, and you sleep 1/3 of 365 days a year. So 1/3 of 365 days a year, you're asleep.
I take off this much.
So that's 8 hours a day. So that's 122. It becomes to 121 point something.
26.
So we're gonna do 122, multiply the amount of years you have left.
Oh.
122 is 1/3 of 365. So you're gonna take 122 and multiply how many years you have left until you're 80. And then that number, you're gonna cut off on your centimeters.
Oh, guys.
That was your sleep time.
I'm out of time.
Not out of time, you're still living and breathing.
Oh, yeah.
You're not out of time. Okay,
10 holidays.
so now is everyone there?
90 will be like 5.5 centimeters.
Yes. You're gonna cut it, that's what the scissors for, cut it. There's a visual thing with this, so make sure you cut it. Now, we take lunch.
Lunch.
We take lunch every day, and we go eat breakfast and snacks and dinner. It's about 30, so honestly, it's 2 hours, on average, it's probably 2 hours per day. So what I did is that'd be 30 hours, right, in a month, or 30 days in a year. I just did 20, what I did was I go, oh, let's make it 24 hours, let's say 30 days a year, 1 day a month would be 30 days in a year. So you take 30 days in a year and you multiply that. So take 30 times how much time you have left between now and 80. So you're gonna take those centimeters and cut it off, 9 point whatever, then that's what it is.
You have 9?
Yeah, that's how much time you go spending time on eating lunch, dinner, snacks, breakfast, all that.
So 9?
Then if it's 9,
It is less
then
than
it's
one.
9 years, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Whatever it says.
But 930 would be like, it's not 9
Like
centimeters.
1 centimeter.
It's like 0.9 centimeters.
No, if it's
I don't have much time left is what I'm working.
30, all you're doing is 30,
are small.
it's 30 days in a year. You're losing 30 days in a year.
Yeah, but I only
So
have
you're gonna
31 years.
multiply.
I only have 31 years left. By 30 is 930.
From what you were saying.
So
Right.
it's not 1 centimeter in the equation, it's centimeter per thousand. So it's like 1 centimeter.
Okay, then cut it off.
I have 30 years left. I'm out.
Cut it off.
I gotta go live a little bit more.
Okay. We average a drive time, by the way, just here local time is an hour a day in just drive time. So even if you don't commute
Invest in
and
a
you live
chauffeur.
locally, it's about an hour of drive time. That's 2 years. That's like about 2 years in total. So you want to do that. So there's 24 hours, 1 day a month, 24 a month. You average 1 hour a day. It's about 2 years.
So cut off 2 centimeters?
You're gonna cut about, yeah.
I just try for fun.
I don't know, you gotta 2 years multiply your time. I don't know what yours is. If it's 50, it'll be like 6.5, I think.
So how many days?
If you're 30 years old, it'll be 6.5.
How many days you said of driving?
It'll be 1 hour a day. Time, so 30 days, this is how you're gonna know. 30 days times your time.
What's left?
What's left?
Oh, 38 times.
Will
30
equal
hours.
to how many years?
About
Will
2.
equal to how many years?
About 2 for me.
Okay.
1.8.
1.8, there you go. Okay, so how many years, measure your thing and tell me how many years you have left.
I don't have anything left to do.
How many centimeters you got left?
28.
You have 14 centimeters to make it or break it.
28.
So you have 14 years to make it or break it. You have 28 years to make it or break it.
I have 50.
You have 50 years to make it or break it. That's the thing. You really don't have as much time as you really think you do. You really don't. That's your time to make.
Anxiety a little bit.
What is it?
I said it gave us a little bit of anxiety, this exercise.
It's
So
good to
it's
confront your mortality.
designed to actually give you the importance of time.
Yes.
So that you have awareness about the fact that, you know, there's people with natural fire in the bed. What I mean is they're just, come on, come on, come on, come on.
I'm gonna die soon.
Now, I'm one of those people. I've been coached around the fact to calm that down. Because anything overused is a detriment. Any positive overused becomes a negative. So what I had to do was calm that down. But what I recognized is 97% of the population doesn't live on that. 97 population are normal. And what they do is they're not constantly, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Not everybody can be fired up.
So, this is to make you realize maybe you need to be a little bit more, swing your pendulum into, and protect that time. You only have, how many centimeters?
42.
20. Use it wisely. On average, right? Like my mom said, it could be a little more, it could be, oh, I shared that earlier, about that story. But anyway, it could be a little more, it could be a little less. The world doesn't know your purpose and priorities and isn't responsible for them. You are. The world doesn't care. No one really cares. You have to be the protector of your time. How do you do that? You build that by building a bunker. What do I mean? You're going to build that by making sure there's no distractions. Okay? You're going to maybe turn off your phone. Because you're only going to use this phone if you're at the house or something like that. Or maybe you do not make sure you do not answer any of the calls that come in. You're only making the calls going out. No matter what, build your bunker. Somehow that you create the environment. Can my daughter, who had a messy room, could she think clearly? What does the room have to do with her thinking skills? But it does. That's why they go messy desk, messy mind. Yeah, that means you're not thinking right. So if anything's gonna happen, if you don't start, the behavior won't change until the brain tells it to change. So your brain, you have to think differently. So you gotta, I had to think differently about the weigh-ins. Thinking differently so that I can do differently. You have to store the provisions. Have your drink, have your whatever reason. Oh, I'm gonna want an apple, bring the apple in. Build a bunker. Next, sweep for minds. Anything that you think that is going to happen, I'm going to tell you. So Garrett has lead generation time, right? During his lead generation time, you know what? Everyone knows that he's on lead generation time. So the staff will prevent you from going in there, because it's his lead generation time. All of the people around him are protecting, because we know the minds. You know what the minds are? Got a minute? Got a minute?
Sorry, George.
That never takes a minute.
It's never a minute.
It's never a minute. So sweep for minds, enlist the people, enlist the support, and sweep for minds meaning know what's going to happen before it happens and prevent that. Like, come up with solutions on that. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we're gonna skip.
Hi, everyone.
Skip. All right. So in your packet, you have where it shows you your time blocking. It shows you like 8 a.m., 7 a.m., all of that. What I'd like you to do is actually put this in your phones. Open up your phone in your calendar and create a time blocking schedule. So the time blocking schedule is maybe on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm lead generating from 3 to 6 p.m. And maybe on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm lead generating from 9 to 12. I don't know. Whatever it is, put in your big rocks now. Then, what about the to-dos, Amy? They have to be done. They do, after you finish your big rocks. You earn the right to do the to-dos, not the other way around. So when I'm teaching investing, or when I'm teaching people on how to be better with their money, every single time, I have not even come across one person throughout all the years that goes and does it right. Nobody. You know why? Because I'll tell you, they get a check, guess where it goes?
Personal account.
Goes into where?
Their personal account.
Goes into a checking account. I don't care if it's a business account. If it's a checking account, it's the wrong place. No money should ever hit your checking account from the outside in. Never. Always into your savings account. And then from your savings account, you'll move only what you need over to your checking account. Why?
You're going to spend it.
Spend less money.
You spend it. Because where's your big rock? Your savings account.
Yeah.
Not your checking.
That earns no money.
So where's your big rock on your calendar? Lead generation. Lead gen is your big rock. That's your business. That's your role. That's your thing. Or get out. Everything else is same. I want to thank you for giving me your time. I appreciate you all. And I'm here if you want to reach out and talk to me. And if you want to share your 411. Any questions? Any ahas that you want to share? You didn't hit that.
I don't have as much time as I thought.
Neither did I. I went over it.
Well,
It was exactly as I remembered.
What is it, Brandon?
It's good to confront your mortality often so you learn what is important in the moment.
Right. And that's only given the gift.
Right.
That's only if each day we're given that gift of life.
Right.
We're taking a lot for granted.
okay, 80 years? A lot of people I feel like don't see that.
There is this lady that survived 110 3 Dr. Peppers today.
Anything on Zoom? Are you guys good?
I did say that I loved my aha that I wrote down was that if you can do it in 3 hours or less, that it's a to-do list and not part of your success list. So just kind of that separation was great.
Perfect. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you.
Share your
Thank you.
411. Thank you.
Thank you.
Somebody get my guys.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Or stop by the office.
Okay, I'll have to set a time with you guys to look and see. Make sure you text me because I just don't want to.